You might want the dream. You might write it down, vision board it, build a timeline. But if the foundation underneath doesn't believe you deserve it, you're not just rearranging chairs on a sinking ship. You're actually punching holes in the hull with your distracted focus. I know this because I've lived this over and over and over again. I've set financial targets that never got touched. I've built workout routines and stuck to them for a week, maybe. I've invested in businesses that I had no business investing in. Not because the plans were bad, but because the man beneath that didn't believe that he could actually live the outcome. There was no subconscious support beam holding up the weight of those goals. So not only did they collapse, they brought the whole freaking house down. And here's the dangerous part. I kept piling on more goals and thinking that would just fix it. But they weren't goals at all. They were just the latest distractions. This time, instead of booze or drugs or excuses, this time I used productivity to stay busy enough to avoid the tough questions. It was like patching drywall when the foundation is cracked and falling apart. You can paint it all you want, but the walls are still gonna come down. I see this constantly in my clients, in employees, and in founders everywhere. They map out a compelling vision. They reverse engineer it back into a 10 or 12 impressive goals to chart the course for the next year. They color code it into spreadsheets, and then a month later I ask, what'd you do last week to move the needle on just one of these goals? Silence, stutters, or excuses. Busy week, family stuff, I've been putting out fires. Beneath the excuses is something far more destructive. It's a belief gap. It's that voice that whispers, who am I to pull off something this big? So they stay in motion instead of making moves. They avoid the hard things. They numb. They self-soothe with a lot of distractions. It gets darker than that sometimes too. That disbelief becomes the perfect excuse to revert to picking up old bad habits. Maybe it's booze, drugs, toxic relationships, gaming, chaos. Look, I can spot this instantly because it's like looking in the mirror, okay? Here's the truth. Nobody wants to say it out loud. It's easier to numb than to face the brutal truth that you're not becoming who you claim to be. I understand this because that was me until it totally blew up. Now, I didn't find this truth in some podcast or a mastermind group. I wish. I found it in rehab, okay? And let me tell you, the first night there, it was absolutely terrifying. I checked in late in the afternoon in this foreign place. I couldn't sleep. Every sound echoed. The place was gross. It was terrible. The fear of what have I gotten myself into and what will be left if I ever get out of here sat heavy on my chest. The next morning, I met Dr. Bob, one of the most transformative men that I've ever known. I was in a group of about 25 or 28 patients and a handful of doctors. And he started pushing me like, who are you? I answered with what I did. I answered with, I have some kids. He kept pushing back again and again. I gave him another answer. Still not good enough. Things got a little heated. I started yelling at Bob and finally said something. And he said, thank you. And I sat down. And then he went to the next person like it was no big deal. I sat down frustrated. My heart was racing, but in that moment, something broke open inside of me. I thought, damn it, I've tried to do this on my own thousands of times, and I failed every single time. If I'm here, and I gotta be here, then I'm all in. If I can be cured, a place like this is the place to do it. So no holding back, no half-ass measures. I'm gonna leave it all on the table, all on the field, man. And that decision changed my entire life. Because once the masks were stripped away and I saw what had been running the show all along, it wasn't ambition, it wasn't drive, it was fear, it was shame, it was unworthiness. The scariest, craziest part about all is underneath all of that, there was an incredibly sophisticated avoidance system that kept me in a comfort zone. It was a shitty comfort zone, but it was a comfort zone that I was used to nevertheless. And it kept me small. It was so sophisticated that I could justify almost anything as staying busy. One time I buried myself in preparing for an event sponsorship. I was running around ordering t-shirts, banners, swag, all the 9 yards. When the truth was, we didn't even have a strategy for how to make a return on the investment of that sponsorship. In the moment, it all felt urgent. We were all doing everything we needed to do. It felt responsible even, but it was just a distraction. Because the whole business itself shouldn't have even existed. It was built on misaligned thinking. And that's what avoidance looks like. When you're trying to wear the mask of success and you're running around in circles. In rehab, I learned to slow down enough to actually assess what I was believing about myself. And that shifted everything because I stopped asking, what do I want? And I sat with that what for a while longer. But then the frustration came because our mind likes disclosures. We want to know if we got a what, then we move to how. So I asked a different question because I didn't know how. And I started thinking differently. Who already has what I want? That was easier. I looked around at people who had the impact, they had the health, they had the wealth, they had the freedom that I was chasing. And I began to study them. What did they do? Once I had models, the next question became, how can I become like them? That single shift changed my life direction because now I wasn't chasing fantasies. I wasn't building a pipe dream. I was building a blueprint. It's not just what I want right now. It's what I really want to accomplish. So I would sit with it. Who already has it? Study them. How do I become like them? Start doing what they did. That roadmap became the beginning of a real change for me. Here's what I believe at my core. The desires of your heart, they're not random. They're not accidents. I believe them to be callings planted in your heart by God. Even the material ones. You want to build wealth? I don't think that's greedy. You want to be fit? I don't think that's vain. Do you want freedom of your time? I don't think that's being lazy. I think that's God whispering what's possible into your heart. These are whispers from the future version of you. But here's the catch. You must become the version of yourself who can actually hold this stuff. And that takes courage. It takes brutal honesty. It takes silencing the noise and the numbing agents that keep you from hearing the truth. It's not about journaling your goals once a year. It's about confronting your beliefs every day, expecting to receive what you're pursuing and building the systems that make space for it. This is why every quarter, my wife and I do a gut check. We shut everything off, we go get a hotel room, and we put a calendar of the whole year up on the wall. We mark today's date, and then we look at our goals and we ask, what progress have we made thus far? Where have we stalled? Did we bite off a little more than we could chew? What hard truth are we avoiding with the day-to-day busyness of life? One time I recall we had build homes on our property back east on the list. When we looked honestly at the year and where we were, what we had accomplished, and what it would take, the answer was crystal clear. It became obvious. If we kept chasing that goal, it would be a massive distraction. So immediately, it was easy. We cut it and out the door it went. That single decision freed up focus, money, and energy to pour back into what mattered actually most to us. Excuses don't survive these sessions because when you re-anchor to your truth, you realize if God put this in my heart, He'll equip me to handle it. But you have to show up, not just in theory, in action. And here's another layer. Your circle is your ceiling. The people around you are either pulling you up or dragging you down. When I was using drugs, my circle normalized it. It kept me low. The energy, the standards, small, toxic. And when I changed my circle, my ceiling changed with it. If the people around you aren't inspiring and confronting you and challenging you, you're in the wrong room. Here's the pro move. Find someone already doing the thing every day that you want and do it with them. Repeat that across multiple categories of your life, and soon enough, your ceiling, you can't even recognize it. And the things that once seemed impossible, they just become who you are. So here's the bottom line. You don't need more goals. You need deeper belief. Until your subconscious identity aligns with the life that you're trying to build, you'll always unconsciously sabotage the very thing you want most. If you're stuck, stop adding goals. Stop filling every moment with busy chaos. And instead, start asking, who do I need to become? And then start building that version of you. And surround yourself with the circle that makes that a normal thing. That's where the real shift starts. It's not woo-woo, it's not hype, it's a blueprint. Steps that you can follow like building anything else. So go, build the version of you the world is waiting for.